Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this live around how she did it. All right. So we have here, this is Ronnie from FITBANKER, and we are doing this live to really share an amazing transformation and an amazing outcome and results that have been caused by the amazing Anoli. So I am going to, you can see on screen what she's caused. I am just going to for a minute, stop that share so that you could see both of us. So that's me, Ronnie, and Anoli, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So we're doing this live really to share journeys of participants that have taken on the FITBANKER challenge. And beyond the physical, I would really love people to get connected to what's possible when we really work on transformation at a holistic level. So not just at a physical bodily level, but at the body, mind, and intellect level. And welcome to anyone and everybody that is joining or tuning in, whichever Facebook group you're watching this in. Welcome and thank you for joining here. If you're joining, if you have any questions, please do type any comments below. And if you're watching this on catch up after it's live, feel free to tag me so that I get notified of your questions, and I can come in to support you and to respond to any of the queries that you have. But for now, I would love to really deep dive into Anoli's world and get a sense of what Anoli did, what Anoli accomplished inside of her FITBANKER challenge, and she's gone on to continue her journey. And I would love everyone here to really get a sense of what actually truly is possible when you are willing to pause for a second, take a look at your life, really begin to be straight with yourself and get connected to what about our health or our well-being is or isn't working, and then really take an action that will be an act and a contribution towards transforming our health and well-being. So that said, Anoli, I would love to deep dive into the Anoli that we have on screen, and I'd love to hear from you if you could tell us a little bit about you, then maybe a little bit of your background and your life and your daily lifestyle and routine, what that looked like. You could talk about as well what it was like just before you had the baby and when maternity leave, but paint a picture of what your life and your lifestyle looked like before you took on your health and your well-being.
Gosh, thanks everyone. Good morning. I'm really struggling to look at this photograph of myself. I'd kept it and I never shared it with anyone until I'd done this program for 200 days. And then I finally felt like I could reveal who the Anoli was that everyone knows. So that person that you see on that screen. So yeah, I am 42 years old. I'm a mum of two. I've got a 7-year-old and an almost 2-year-old toddler. Before that, so by profession, I'm a chartered accountant and I've chosen to be a stay-at-home mum for the past 7 years. And so, yeah, what I guess in terms of my health and my well-being, I've always been a big person. Like I don't really have any memory of not kind of being big, if that makes sense. But it wasn't really an issue for me in terms of, or it didn't appear to be an issue for me. My life was consumed or is still consumed with normal family things. I had my son, you kind of get engrossed in trying to raise a new baby and then you think, oh, let's have another one. And that was a journey in itself. But while I was pregnant, I became a high-risk pregnancy and I developed a condition called pre-eclampsia. So I was hospitalized and had a really quite traumatic end of pregnancy, delivery, and kind of post-birth recovery. It was a bit of a like Grey's Anatomy style kind of arrival for my little girl. And the biggest thing with pre-eclampsia, which I didn't know at the time when I was being treated, is that you now become a high-risk candidate for blood pressure. And my blood pressure was pretty intense in hospital, and it was heavily medicated, but I was also sent home on medication. And so I was kind of given this baby, like, here's your bundle of joy, but by the way, the price that you're going to pay for this gift is the words of the doctor were like, you're just going to have to accept that you'll be on this medication. Don't read too much about it. Don't think too much about it. What's happened has happened. Just take it. And I knew that I had to make lifestyle changes. And I spent 40 days in hospital, but that night before I left hospital, I was very, very clear that I was going to do the FITBANKER program. Wasn't going to do any other program, but I'd seen Ronnie on social media. I'd known you and Ambi from before. And so it felt like a really safe place. And I really identified with your story that I needed to do this. So in my head, I knew I needed to do it, but it took a while to actually do it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my story. Health and fitness really didn't feature. It wasn't a priority. Everything was, I'll eat what I want to eat. I didn't really think about the impact. Exercise wasn't really a feature. I was all about just trying to raise my family and kind of living on a day-to-day basis, not really looking to the future or looking at the impact of any of my actions, and not questioning why did I get to how I got to. When you see that picture, there's obviously a story that went on to get me there, but I was oblivious to it. So that's me.
Yeah, awesome. Great intro, and I'm sure relatable by many. We've got a number of people watching right now on the group that we're streaming live into. If anyone has any questions, if you relate to identify with what Anoli is sharing, or somebody, maybe yourself, or maybe your partner or your wife went through a similar journey, you can share about that. You could share about maybe some of the things you were told, or maybe that you struggled with. And Anoli is a walking, talking example of everything is transformable, which is our ethos and our motto. And we coach in multiple areas, which is health, leadership, relationships, adventure, and much more. So I'd love to talk about, there's a first hurdle before anyone takes on their well-being, and that's often our internal state. That's often our inner voice and those conversations that go on for us. And for those of you that are listening, we have a masterclass later today at 11 a.m. UK time, where you can join to really understand and learn about this science. But today's conversation is going to be about a 25-minute conversation with Anoli to really have you get into her world. So if you have any questions, please do ask them on the live, and I will read them out to Anoli, and she can respond to them. But what were your first inner hurdles that you had to overcome? What were some of your hesitations about doing this program, the way this program is designed, signing up to it, starting it? And talk about how you started, when you signed up and when you began. What were the internal hesitations going on for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a story in the sense that, as I say, I had the conviction that I knew I wanted to start, but actually getting me started, I started twice and then stopped. And so that's not an easy thing to accept, that, hang on, I've signed up for something, but I don't feel capable for it. Now, at that time, what was going through my head? How am I going to fit this in? I've got a newborn baby. It's going to be too much of a commitment. There was things like webinars at 7:30 in the evening. And I was like, but I've got bedtime, bath time, my son comes home. Some legitimate concerns about physical expectations. I'd had a C-section. I wasn't physically strong. I was breastfeeding. But essentially a barrier of like, how am I going to do this? But a year later now, when I've been reflecting, there was I've had put into my head an intimidation of what a healthy lifestyle would look like. Mm-hmm. So when I saw people up early in the morning and they'd done a bike ride and had got their smoothies going, and were eating all these super salads and had like pre-prepared their smoothies and their lunches for a week, and all their vegetables were chopped. And I was just like, this isn't me. And it freaked me out. And I didn't feel comfortable. And I didn't realize that at the point, but I felt intimidated. I had a huge internal sense of fear of failure. Like maybe I'm the one that can't do this. Yeah. I mean, actually, in reality, I had nothing to lose. We would just give it a go. But I had a fear of failure. And I was actually skeptical. Like, I'd talked to you and you had reassured me so many times. You were like, just, even if you did half the program, you'll lose 10 kilos. And if I'm really honest, I thought you were just selling it to me. And I know you, so I know that you were genuine, but I just thought, like, this guy just wants me to sign up. He just wants to get me in. He doesn't mean it. And actually, you're right. I lost 10 kilos in that first program and I only did 50% of it. but it entirely a whole story going on, just stopping me. And then once I started, which was last January, all you had to do was start, and then immediately everything transforms.
Yeah, awesome. So you're talking about 10 kilos in your first 90 days, in your first 3-month window. What did you accomplish overall? So we're saying this, you took on the program, you then did it by design or partly by design. And even that had you lose in that day one photo there to there, that's 21 kg. But you said from when you signed up, which is the image right on the left, what's the total weight loss since the mind registered that I'm transforming my health and well-being?
Okay, so when I was in hospital, I was 80 kilos. So when I was saying, here's your blood pressure medication, congratulations, I was 30 kilos. Then that photograph, so when I contacted you, I knew that I needed to start. I'd probably say about 74 kilos.
Yeah.
And my GP wanted me to kind of lose 5 kilos. And she even thought that would be a stretch. So then we did like 10.6 kilos in the first challenge, and then another 10 kilos in the kind of second and third challenge. But obviously, as we know, a big part of this is not just kilos, it's all about body composition, which was new to me. And so it took a lot to share that, my body fat was 47%. So this is half my body was body fat. And that put me in the obese column. So I didn't really tell anyone that number except my husband. And I don't even know if I shared it with my coach. But like now I'm like, yeah, no, I need to share this number because I need other people to know that if I was at that stage, anyone can do it. But it took a lot to accept those stats. So yeah, but now I'm like 49 point something kilos today.
Oh, amazing. There we are. So starting from that weight down to 49 kilos, under 50. But so talk to me about what you discovered then when you signed up to the program. There were all those internal hesitations, which a lot of us have. And I want everyone that's listening to consider this, that before I myself took on my health at the age of 35, I had this crazy view of what healthy and fit people were. I am not an athlete by background. I'm not somebody that I would call myself, or people would call me sporty. They wouldn't call me that. I'm not somebody that had a history of being a PT all my life, and that I suddenly started to become this coach for people globally. I am very much where Anoli was. I was somebody in finance and banking. I was overweight. I was 108 kg, had a 40-inch waist, and I was able to transform that. But the first things I had to work on is the mindset stuff that we do on our program, giving up a lot of our limiting beliefs. And what we do is, what I found is when I jumped into this world of fitness and being a fitness influencer and a PT and a nutritionist, what I suddenly discovered is there's a whole host of things that I thought were way beyond me or were way complex that actually weren't. So I'd love to hear what did you discover when you got into your FITBANKER challenge? What were some of the things you discovered, and what did your daily routine and some of the habits or assignments of the FITBANKER challenge look like for you?
So the first thing to say is that I had a really negative view of it. Like I kind of in my mind thought this is going to be like 90 days of suppression, no gain, no pain, like boot camp, like this very kind of suppressive kind of vision. Like I'm going to just, I felt like I don't know what's going to be thrown at me, and let's just see. Like I had this very intense kind of feeling of what it was going to be. And I use the word suppression, but this has been the most uplifting, compassionate, expressive journey that I could have ever imagined. And I've done it like I'm on my 4th journey, and it is the most supportive, gentle, balanced, compassionate place ever. So one misconception I had is that like I'm not a healthy person, but FITBANKER is full of different ages, different backgrounds. People have got different goals, and not necessarily just about weight loss. People are trying to change their body composition. They're trying to put on weight. It's a whole host of people in the mix, and I'm just one of many. So the biggest thing that first struck me is like, if you just say like, I'm in it and this is my story, you just realize that there's a whole group of people there that are out there to lift you. And we have this big thing about no one gets left behind. And even though I was trying to be invisible, I was trying to not really kind of put myself out there. I didn't get left behind because the program worked so well. So in terms of a typical day, I think there's a lot of community, which is a really big thing. So there's a lot of sharing. There's a lot of people that have woken up, they're doing different things. So you never feel alone. And especially in, we've done this in lockdown, but I felt like I've gained a whole virtual family, and a lot of us feel really strong connections with each other. So as soon as you wake up, there's absolutely a sense of community, and you kind of have like a list of habits that you're trying to build, and actually they build really quickly. So although a lot of it was alien to me, so the concept of having a smoothie in the morning and not like tea and toast and cheese and like Indian food was so alien. But I just set my mind to that I was going to do it. And my husband did it with me. And just within a few days, that suddenly became like a set part of the routine. I was also really keen to build everything in within my life. So there's a big part of doing exercise. And I kind of, at that point, struggled with the idea of like, how am I going to find an hour of my own time a day to do this? But I realized you can easily build it in to your normal family day, whether it was going for a walk and pushing my little girl's pram, school drop-offs, evening walks, whatever it is, like you can make it fit in as long as you know that you want to do it. And because you're seeing everyone also kind of doing this type of stuff, you get inspired along. And we've had some crazy posts in this past challenge of people who have gone out walking at midnight. And I would, like last year, I would have thought you guys are nutters. But I found myself doing it this week, thinking I want to get my steps in. But I really want to stress to everyone that it's really gentle. There's nothing intense about it. It builds up very gradually. And before you know it, you've built a habit. And there was some of it that was hard. I really have had to learn about nutrition. It wasn't something that I thought about. Concepts like body composition, all of that was really new. But you get it, and you get it over time. Like it's not suddenly all at you, bit by bit, you get it. And it's okay if you don't get all of it, because you're still doing something compared to what you were doing a few days before, which is probably not much. So I'd say a typical day is really, really uplifting and energetic, and you don't really realize that you're doing the program, to be honest.
Got it. Awesome. Awesome. Lovely share. I just want to share so that people watching this image, if you've joined now, we've talked about what she's accomplished. She started her program in January 2020, but she had signed up, image on the left, in September. And we say that your program, things begin to shift once you've registered for something, because the mind is like, I've got to start making these changes. So you start to become mindful just by signing up to something around what you eat, around how much you're moving. You start to bring awareness, because when you join a masterclass like Anoli did, which is you understand how the program works, we begin to explain to you what's expected of you. Those of you listening in, we have a masterclass today, 11 a.m. UK time. I have pinned the link here, so you can join that, register for that masterclass happening today. And I want to state, for the integrity of the image, so you're not confused, image on the left was January last year, and the one on the extreme right, which says day 30, is day 30 of her current program that Anoli is now a coach on. And she's a coach on, and that's 30 days. So this is February 2021, but bulk of her transformation happened last year, probably within 2 programs. So by July time, I think you're already at your peak, close to where you are now, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'd say 6 months, 2 programs.
6 months, and then she's been on an amazing maintain, because a lot of people ask and have a concern, oh yeah, if I do this, it will volley back up. If you do a fad diet, if you do something that is suppression and unenjoyable, the likelihood is that the moment you're not under that structure, it may volley up, right? So a big thing Anoli has stressed and spoken about, I always wanted to ask people, like, what has been the highlight of the FitBanker Challenge? And everyone's stress is the community. And Anoli just said that right now about the community. And I'll quote Anoli here, but I use this quote off Anoli's elsewhere when I tell people that simply, in addition to having weekly webinars, in addition to having a weekly coaching call with your coach and your team, we have what we call Friday night surgeries. And I know when Anoli joined our coaching calls, when she joined the coaching body, one of the things she said, and we were out in Safari at the time, you were like, I'm really grateful to be on this, because this is my first and probably my only adult communication and connection that I'm having during lockdown. And I thought, wow, what a contribution to people's mental and emotional well-being that we provide that environment, that atmosphere to do it. So if you're watching this and you find yourself, especially now during lockdown, that you're often on your own, that you're not connecting with people, that you're missing that human connection, this program goes by the African proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we really bring that community together. So there's some questions. How long is one program? Yeah, one program is 90 days. And after the program, after you do the first program, it's a minuscule amount for you to continue your journey. People love to revise the program because they want to either learn it a bit more better or deeper, or deepen the understanding of the principles. And what we coach on is not like a fad diet. We don't have some funny gimmicks. There's no woo-woo stuff. We coach you on understanding the principles of the human body, the principles of what contributes to fat, what contributes to muscle growth, the principles of how the mind forms habit, and how we form a liking for certain foods, right? And we educate you on various alternatives. Like I'm having this sugar-free iced tea. The quality and the choices that I make nowadays has significantly shifted. And it's not just pleasure-driven, which historically it was sensual in nature, right? And pleasing the mouth, pleasing the senses is very sensual in nature. And most of us live our life that way. So that said, I want to talk a little bit about leadership. I want to talk about, you've now stepped up to be a coach, but I want you to get connected to and maybe share some of the people that you've inspired and what has inspired you about them and what they've gone on to do. So I know you just mentioned earlier about your husband was doing it with you. I'd love to know if you had any impact with him. I'd love to know if there's been any impact with your family at home. I'd love to know if there's been with friends or colleagues or prior colleagues, and what your experience of yourself has become after you've started to see how inspiring and influential you are with others.
Gosh, let's start with my husband, who's been amazing. So he didn't do the challenger stuff as such, but we ate the same thing. So he lost 10 kilos last year, literally through supporting me and the lifestyle changes that we made, which was huge, because you talked about the lockdown, which is not a nice experience for any of us, but we really feel like we've made the best of this opportunity. So when we look back, at least we can see that we've kind of at least tried to address something that we could kind of stuck within our 2-bedroom flat. And it's been interesting that I didn't really share anything in my first 90 days, but at the end, I started to share my pictures with a small group of friends of mine and my cousins. And it was the first time that I actually put numbers, and people started to relate their own weight to mine. And my really good friend Jessica then signed up for the 3rd challenge, and she just specifically commented to say, well, if you can get to that range, then maybe I can too. And it just kind of seemed to light somebody else's feeling that I can do this. A lot of people want to make changes all the time, but they don't really feel that they can. So I hope that I've kind of shown people that I can. So lots of people have rocked the 10 kilo mark. But what's been really nice is that, so my friend, her dad then joined and lost 25 kilos. Another friend joined and her husband in the background lost another 20 kilos. So although we're making, we can count our transformation in terms of how many people signed up or how many people have complimented me or noticed and then tried to do something different. But there's a huge kind of ripple effect, which I think I'm not aware of yet. But everyone's just been so amazing. And that photograph, it's something that I wasn't, I was essentially ashamed of it, to be honest. But now it's something that I'm really proud to share, because if someone can see, that's the person that we're dealing with. And I did it in a very, very gentle way. I did it post C-section, did it breastfeeding. I've done it with umbilical hernia, where I'm not allowed to do intense exercises. So I'm not like going crazy at a gym. And I really believe that if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I've seen my friends join up and they've done it. So we've seen it repeated times now, that it's an illusory story that you see. It's really genuine.
Amazing, amazing, amazing stuff, Anoli. And I just think about the people that you're saying that you've inspired. I've seen their transformation, and there's absolutely this ripple effect, because for those of you guys that are watching, our mission at FITBANKER is we truly believe, especially in these times now where the world is going through a global health pandemic, what we stand for and our mission is to transform humanity, to transform 1 billion lives through education, not medication. And we know and we can see now that the thing that makes the greatest difference to majority people in maintaining their well-being is education, right? And all Anoli's done by sharing her transformation, sharing what she learned and what she's even doing now, is a real contribution to everybody watching. I was saying to her before we went live that this is an act of seva that we can get to contribute. And there might be some of you listening in who may not even join today's masterclass. We have a masterclass at 11 a.m. You might begin to shift something in your own mindset. I want you to consider that that little piece of sharing that Anoli does is the education, the wisdom that we're passing on to empower others to take an action. And she spoke about Jessica. I know a few other people who've joined. I know other people who've reached out to me saying that they're inspired by Anoli. They may not have even spoken to Anoli, but they've just seen her photos and they know her. And they're like, I saw Anoli's transformation and I was really inspired by that. And I love what you guys are up to. And then when they get on the program, they are, I don't know if you want to talk a bit about this, some of the stuff that we talk about, body, mind, and intellect, or these philosophical or spiritual aspects of some of the stuff in the program. Is there anything that you heard for the first time and you thought, wow, I didn't expect that would be in this program? Is there anything that stood out for you?
No, absolutely. I think we talk about misconceptions. I was, I guess because of the place that I was in, I was entirely approaching this program an opportunity to sort out my health in terms of my, percentages and what I look like on a photo, or what the scale said. And as I've gone on with the program, it's such a holistic program. And actually, Ambika has a lot of content on the program which people might not be aware of, which is really tapping into the concept of everything is transformable. And now being a coach, which is a huge, huge privilege, I can really see that the whole program is designed to make you win at every aspect of your life, but you can't be that winner unless you're standing on a strong platform of health and well-being. And it challenges you to think, well, what's your why? What's your purpose in life? Because if you've got a really lofty, inspiring purpose, you then start to realize that my body is a vehicle to get me to do that. And it's a really subtle thing. So if I'm honest, I didn't, and I've got, a spiritual education behind me, but I wasn't in the place to see that at the beginning. But it's such a subtle program. It's just beautiful because every part of your life then starts to get challenged. And I've got people who I'm coaching now who are saying, yeah, I'm questioning my why. I'm questioning what my, what is my career going to be? What's my role with my family? What do I really want? Now, none of that can be achieved without a stable health platform. But the program is so much more than maybe what we would associate it to be.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. So I'd love to now, finally, as we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Anything that you now have shifted around your relationship to yourself, right? And in that vein, any advice that you have for anyone else who might be thinking about it, who might be tolerating a certain level of health, or really knows this program, but they're sitting on the fence. So I'd love for you to start with how your relationship to yourself has shifted, and in there, anything you'd like to share with anyone thinking about it.
Sure. So to be honest, I think I'm still accepting my transformation. Everyone around me sees it more than I'm seeing it. And I think that's a lot of reasons, but I genuinely think it's because the program was so natural that this just happened and it didn't feel like hard work. Because it didn't feel like hard work, I don't necessarily identify with the achievement so much, because it wasn't like blood, sweat, and tears to kind of get me there. It was just a very beautiful kind of uplifting experience. What would I say to other people? So I'm very keen to stress, especially to new mums or people who have just come pregnant, that I by no way feel that anyone should ever feel under any pressure, especially at that vulnerable time, to have to be a certain way or to look a certain way, regardless of what other people are doing or what you see on social media. I feel very passionate about that. But it comes a point where you have to look after your health. And that's what happened to me, and lots of other things came from that. But there comes a point where you can no longer neglect that, and that cannot be the bottom of your to-do list. Like sometimes I challenge, like how much time am I spending cleaning my house and Marie Kondoing all my drawers versus actually looking after this body, this vehicle, this gift, which is going to help me to serve my family and to serve everyone else. So if you're hesitant, so if you're that I always say, like, if you're that person, like you always felt like the biggest person in the room, you kind of need your bread and cheese in the morning. I was that person. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. And just sign up. Like, once you've signed up, we've got you, you're in our hands, but just take that kind of leap. And please remember, like, look at my photos and think that I was just a regular person. And I still am a regular person. I'm not doing like any magical type thing, but I'm just staying with the community, and I'm committed to my health, which has made a huge change. My well-being, my confidence. I'm a coach. I just want everyone to be able to have that sense of achievement that I've had. And I really hope that this has helped someone out there just think that I can do it, because I promise you, if I can do it, anyone can.
Amazing. I think it's truly inspiring. Amazing, guys. There's some comments there from Pooja Shah saying you're phenomenal. Prinal says amazing coach, such an inspiration. So some lovely comments there. Thank you everyone for your kind comments. Anyone else that has any questions? We're going to be wrapping up now. So if you have a question that you'd love me or Anoli to answer, please tag either of us in the comments, and we can come back and reply to that. As I mentioned, there's a link there for today's masterclass at 11 a.m. We would love for you to join this at 11 a.m. and you can join this masterclass and find out exactly, deep dive into how this works. It's on Zoom, it's interactive. So if you do join, let me know if you've joined from this session, if this inspired you. And I love what Anoli just said, because I go back to last September 2019, where I got multiple calls around Anoli saying, yeah, but I'm not sure about that. And I spoke to her twice and said, look, just join it. This is the thing that we start. Attend webinar 1 and then decide if you want to continue. And she still chose at one point to defer it one more program. And now she's saying, just sign up and get in, and we've got you in our hands. And that is an amazing transformation for me to hear. So really beautiful words, Anoli, for you to share that. And for background context, Anoli is and was my guru in Chinmaya Mission, in my spiritual studies. And so, you know, I'm grateful that I could be able to give back what someone who got me into staying into a conversation around spiritual studies, around Vedanta, around Chinmaya Mission, and I've deepened a lot of my studies in that world. Post that, after going into a whole host of personal development elsewhere in the world, it's such a privilege for me to be able to give back to my guru. And I invite anyone else that wants to come on. You can get connected to how amazing you are and who else you go on to inspire. So on that note, it's a wrap. We're going to wrap up. Thank you, Anoli. Beautiful share. Thank you for shining the wisdom on everyone else. And thanks for being the inspiration that you always are.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.